Peace to the family. We starting off. It's Monday. This one of the last Monday, 2024. Everybody should be ready for what's about to occur. Going into a new year. You know what I'm saying? We enter into what I like to be. And this is something that I do for every year, and this is something that I believe that everybody should do. Think about watching a movie of 2024, right? And if you was watching a movie of 2024 and it's your life, how would you want it to play out? That's the question. It's a exercise, you know what I'm saying? A neural exercise that if you do it correctly, then you have the ability to control, right, your reality in your life. I seen a question that was posed on social media. It said, for $100 million, would you let your family watch your whole life on screen? So I guess from beginning to end. Now don't tell me how you skip through the boring parts, I guess, and times you just walking and doing nothing, but I'm guessing it's going to be showing all of the relevant parts, stuff that they don't know about you, only the moments that you spend alone, all of that. If your family's seen those moments, would you let them watch that for $100 million? You know what I'm saying? Now, some people ain't got no shame, and some people say the shame don't matter because you're going to have $100 million. And then other people say no because, the people who love you the most may be ruined by what they don't know about you the most. But it's an interesting concept because if you play out the rest of your life thinking about that if you live the rest of your life thinking about the people loving you the most, right, or just love within itself, you loving your own self, you feel me, going forward, how should you live your life to where it wouldn't matter if, it wouldn't matter who viewed it. It wouldn't matter who watched it. It wouldn't matter if it was your grandma to your mother to your children. To you, it still would be an honorable life. Now, we can't change our past, but that's the beauty about the future. The future is a blank slate. Because if I reverse the question and say, for $100 million, would you allow your family to watch your future play out as a movie? See, in the future, you get the ability to change your ways. You get the ability to, to do things the correct way. Doesn't matter what you've done before. Nah. Now we go into the future. A lot of people will say yes. A lot of people will say yes because they think that they're going to live correctly. That they're going to not do things that should be hidden in the dark or do things that they should be ashamed of. And that's the way you should go about living the rest of your life. That is, if some day all of the footage of all your actions, discretions, will be, someday shown to the world. Because maybe they will be. Who knows? How would it change the way you live? How would it change the way you go about life? How would it change the way you go about your day? For a lot of people, it may not. Some people, like I said, don't care. For others, today may be that particular day that you make that decision that I'm going to start living at a higher level. And then you got to ask yourself, and this always helps me when I think about my future self, and you have to see your future self 100 times more successful than your current self. So they have to have 100 times more than what you have. The family got to be 100 times happier, right? Your wealth has to be 100 times more. Right? The love for self, your happiness has to be invigorated on another level. Your bodily energy has to be so high and intense with passion in life. Right? You're super creative. You think clear. Right? You're dressing immaculate. Right? Your taste level is mwah. Everything is just good. Now, the race in life is to become that version of self. So that version of self is waiting to be animated into life. It's sitting there. It exists in this idea in your head. It exists in this pocket dimension of just thought, waiting to be breathed life into it. Sometimes we go about life and we get to accomplish the zenith of our goals, right? Some people get to accomplish exactly what they wanted financially. Some people get to accomplish exactly how they wanted to feel physically. But most people never actually know what it's like to have peak and high level and optimal energy. Like I did a cryotherapy the other day after I did a workout. And when I got out of the workout, man, my energy levels out of the cryo, my energy levels was skyrocket high. I just felt like I could do anything because my energy was at its optimal level. You know what I'm saying? It was just at its optimal, like it was just high level the whole day. I just felt so good. And all I wanted to do was get stuff done. And I realized that, if you got a battery in your phone, and let's say that you always operating it at 40%, then there's certain things that may lag. Right, your download speeds may not be as fast. Your memory capabilities may not be at its best. Right, and you can get used to operating at 40%, or used to operating at 50%, used to operating at 60%. That becomes what you call your baseline. Right, that becomes your baseline in life. So if you used to operating at 50%, if you get a little 10% spike, you feel good. If you used to operating at 50%, if you goes down 10% and you have 40%, you feel bad. Right? But if you have a baseline and it's at 80%, if it drop at 70%, you feel bad. And then when it goes to 90%, that's when you're feeling great. So some people baseline of normality is different for everybody's. Right? Some people baseline of poverty is different, right? Some people can be like, man, if I ain't got 100,000 in the bank account, I feel poor. While another person may be, as long as if I got $1,000 to pay rent next week, then I feel rich. Right? It depends. Your goal is to raise your baseline. Right? That's what you want to do. Raise your baseline of life on all levels. The farther your future self seems from you, it's because your mind is calculating the possibility of your habits reaching your zenith and your optimal self. So if you know that you make $50,000 per year, and you say, one day I want to make $1 million per year, then you're going to have to start calculating how long it would take you to get to, right, making $1 million per year. And you have to think about the things that you'll have to do. And so if I say, hey, there's a millionaire self waiting to be brought out within, you're going to be like, man, that's far off from right now, because you start calculating what your habits currently are, and you know that there's no way possible that your current level could ever reach its highest level. So that means that there's something that has to be tweaked and changed. And you have to learn how to change that. See, a lot of people don't grow, and a lot of people don't actually age, and they don't realize it. A lot of people don't age and don't realize it. A lot of people be at the same age, right, in different categories their whole life. You have some people who are mentally 12 years old, mentally 16 years old. They say when you experience a trauma as a child, until you get over that trauma, you stay the age of that child that experienced it. So you could be a woman that went through a sexual trauma as a 16-year-old, and mine stayed at 16-year-old, never actually growed out of that. Yeah, you can become smarter, but you're just building around that person. Same thing with a boy. See, age is achievement, growth, and experience. It's actually going to be in one of my new books while I break down some of these 19 doors. Achievement, growth, and experience. If you don't have achievement, growth, and experience in different categories, from spiritual, physical, mental, right, financial, what is your actual financial age, sometimes they say. So your goal is to have achievement. If you don't find yourself, if any achievement year over year, then you haven't grown. So let's say there was a point where you started, making $50,000 a year. Let's say that was when you was 19 years old, and you haven't surpassed that, well, that your financial age remains the same. That's your baseline. The life is growth. As you grow older, right? Or I would reverse that and newer, as you go into new categories of life, new ages in life, places that you haven't been before are new, right? Places that you've already been are old. So your old age is stuff that you've already experienced, right? So when you talk about old, you have to reverse the mentality when you're actually talking about age and speak about the past. Only when we talk about age, this is the only time where we change the arrow of time into the future and calling it old is when we're talking about ourselves, right? Think about that. But at any other time when we talking about the past, like, yeah, when I was 19, you know what I mean? That was my old age. Not when you become 50, that's not your old, that's your new age. You haven't been there before. There's these small little tweaks in the brain, these small little things that you've been taught stops you from actually having flow. And this is why some people have small little tweaks that they can optimize life and you can't, because it's these things that get you to think about life in the wrong direction, right? And I've built my brain to break out the rusty locks, the mental locks that we are on through society. The old version of you is always in the past. The new version of you is always in the future. And your current self is always building the new version if you are achieving, the act of achieving, right? The goal is, what are you actually achieving in life? So we should be able to measure that. And that has the success is measured by the completion of goals. Success is measured by the completion of goals. So we can have small successes and big successes. We can always be successful in life. You have to destroy that success is like you cloning someone else's achievement. No, it's about whatever your goals are, whether they're big or small, and you completing those things. Makes you a success. You don't have to be a success in somebody else's eyes. Somebody can see you as unsuccessful. Only if you told them your goals and you haven't completed, they're going to say you're not a success. And you may get mad, but they may be correct. You're not a success. People get so emotional when we hear things like that. But we never stop to think of it's factual. You know what? You're right. I'm not a success yet, because I haven't completed that goal that I said that I was going to do. And I've been procrastinating, and perhaps I'm not even on that path to do it. But thank you for the motivation. We never thank people for the criticism. Sometimes, you know what? Thank you. Because you've pointed out something that I need to change. All right, so boom. Now that, and that's another reverse mentality. When you can get out of the victimization, the insecurities, all of that, the self-doubt, and you start to have the higher levels of self-awareness and things of that nature, and you think from a growth mentality, a forward-thinking mentality, oh man, you operate from one of the highest places on the planet. So, boom. We go to achievement. So, where are you at physically? What have you achieved? Like, even having physical goals. I started tracking, my body calorie burning per day. I start tracking my sleep, right? I want to make sure I optimize my sleep. So now I can tell when I'm getting light sleep, deep sleep, right? REM sleep. REM sleep is rapid eye movement. It's still when your brain has high activity, but it's a deeper sleep than light sleep, of course, because throughout sleep you go through cycles, and your sleep, right, is directly connected to your ability to learn, your brain health, which is your mental health, right, which goes into the amount of energy you have today, how you deal with stress, right? So as we optimizing the body and biohacking and things of that nature, I want to make sure I got physical goals, right? So now I can see if I'm physically successful. So some people, they may be getting a six pack. For some people, it may be losing weight. For some people, it may be running a marathon, right? So some people, it may be fasting. It may be not eating sugar or cutting it out by 20-30%. Right? It all matters. But when you have goals in these categories, number one, you live a happier life because you know and you constantly tracking your success. right? It may be meditation where, you want to decrease your heart rate and you want to be in relaxation. It may be the opposite. You want to run, increase your heart rate so you can increase, your, what's that called? Your stamina. But we got to have goals. If we ain't got no goals, here's the thing about the beauty about working out is that if you smoke weed, right, and you work out, you still may live longer than somebody who doesn't work out. If you eat unhealthy and you work out, you still may live longer than somebody who eats healthy and doesn't work out. You may see somebody that's big but works out, right? And then somebody that may be skinny but don't work out. That person that's bigger could live longer because they're training their body to deal with the condition of their body for a longer period of time. So now their heart is working, their lungs is working, the faculties and order of your whole body is working. The whole thing is, no matter what you do, if you want to increase the quality of life and the longevity of your life, you have to work out. Regardless, you're going to be happier, you're going to be more focused. There's only upside to working out. You have to get in a certain amount of steps per day. You got to move your legs a certain amount. Human beings, we have these two goddamn legs. They actually not meant to sit down all day. They're not. So you have to move about. Otherwise, you start seeing these issues that your body has because it's stagnated. It's stale energy. And as you're operating with new machinery, as I grow into new ages, then I realize that my new ages require me to do new things, right? So in my new age and where I'm at now, I got to make sure I stretch. I got to make sure I warm up, right? Here's the simple analogy. If you go take you a noodle that's dry and you try to bend it, it'll crack. But you heat that noodle up, right, in some water, right? And all of a sudden it's flexible. It can move around. It can wiggle. See, your body is the same way. So if you don't heat it up, you just try to go work out, you go crack something. You know what I mean? The older that we get, or the newer that we get, excuse my vocabulary entanglement, the newer that we get, we have to operate our bodies with new manuals of operation. So it comes with new instructions. This age comes with a new instruction. Sorry, you can't operate it how you did at 17. See, these right here, these are the brain tweaks that you're gonna need. Make sure that you are in the subscriber channel that's in my bio. So when I drop this webinar, it's gonna be a 2-part webinar. You don't want to miss this. I'm gonna get y'all prepared for the year. You're gonna have everything you need, and it's gonna come once the webinar is over. It's gonna come with a booklet as well that you can study up on. And it's going to come over with some technology with it too. I'm talk about that a little later. But that's the reason. And it's funny because I be having to come up with analogies. I hear people say stuff, but they never break it down to me in a way where I download it and be like, okay, I got it. Now I'm going to use it. Which is why I spend the time thinking about things. Because a person can tell me, hey, stretch before you work out. And because of my old age when I didn't have to do it and I just felt like God, and I was like, I could do whatever I want to, I may not have listened. But when I figure it out and I can conclude my own reasoning, now I can download it and be like, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I got to warm up. I can visually see it now. I can see the reason. It makes all the logic in the world. Don't just tell me. Tell me why. Tell me how it works. Right? Now my brain has way too much information to ignore, right, from my own thinking, and own rationality for me not to do it because it wouldn't make no sense. So achievement in all different areas, whether it's spiritual, physical, financial, mental, right? You have to find achievement in order for you to be reaching new ages and unlocking new levels. So if I really sat down and I gave somebody a consult and I was to look at their life and then we would go over it like, okay, you stop peaking financially at this age. You stop peaking physically at this age. You stop peaking spiritually at this age. You stop peaking, right, mentally at this age. Right? And then, you have a biological age as well. So they can go take what they call an executive physical They take your blood and things of that nature, get your work, and then they can tell you what your biological age is, right? So if you learn that, okay, financially you're 16, if you learn that physically, you know what I'm saying, and we had to, take the biological age for the physical, so you can actually have a body that is, older in the sense of, you know, you know, something that is more decrepit or something that is closer towards death, right? Financially, you can be young because it stopped growing, right? Same thing with, mentally. People stop developing mentally, and they take the information at that age that they stop developing mentally, and they just start protecting that information and protecting those beliefs. So spiritually, we stop growing, because in any spiritual belief, if you understand God same way when you was a teenager that you do now, and that relationship and idea hasn't progressed any, and your interpretation and understanding that relationship, right? Then your spiritual age and your relationship with God stop maturing, right? The words mean different things, so you have to go back and address your own beliefs, right? And then go deeper into the roots of those beliefs to figure out what really is actually meaningful to you. You know what I'm talking about? So being able to do that and being able to have that assessment over one's life and over oneself, right, allow you to track your growth. And by tracking that growth, you're actually going to see yourself optimizing and growing more and more and more. It's shown that, like, when a person track their finances, they go save more money or invest more money or make more money, right? Because they're accounting for what they're doing, right? And that accountability allows you to change the standards. It allows you to change that baseline, so you can start making more and doing more. You start experimenting, like, okay, well, I tracked it this month, I spent this much. If I don't spend this, then I have more. Boom. So that tracking and that accountability allows you to take an account on what to do next, right? So it's information intake for action output. Y'all not listening. Y'all not listening, man. I'm just trying to give you some of this guidance for the day.